Hi Genderqueerchat, it's Callie. This is Saturday, 15th of January, and this week the topic is surgeries. What surgeries have you had or would you like to have? I was thinking about this yesterday and I journaled it because my feelings on this subject are quite complex, and so I journaled it. And what I think I'm going to do is, because I think I wrote down, I think I got to the kind of crux of the thing when I was journaling it, so if you don't mind, I'm going to periodically refer to my journal as I go. So, having watched other people's videos about this, I was thinking that I thought at first when I started thinking about this, I thought I might describe it as being that I was sitting at one end of the MTF spectrum, like at the far M end. But that didn't seem right to me, because although I am completely male-bodied and don't pass as a woman, I don't feel that that's where I want to be on that spectrum. And I don't really feel that the spectrum, with M on one end and F on the other end, is particularly helpful for me for describing myself. So I'm going to throw out that description. But I've become much more body confident since being out as genderqueer. I've never really been that comfortable with my own kind of body and body shape and everything before, but now I am much more so, I would say. Like, for instance, I have two male housemates, and I will quite happily, going from my room to the shower, or the shower to my room, just have a towel around my waist, which I would not have done 2 or 3 years ago, just because I would not have been confident enough with my body. And I would be perfectly happy for either of my two male housemates to run into me on the stairs, but I wouldn't go around without a shirt on, partly because I live somewhere where it's freezing pretty much all the time. And I'm quite happy with I'm especially happy with like my kind of torso area, and I've never had a kind of desire for breasts, and even when I wear a dress or a skirt, which I do from time to time, I don't have breast forms or anything. And I also used to hate the shape of my legs, because I've got quite, like, proportionately to the rest of me, I've got quite chunky thighs, but it's kind of, you know, I just think, yeah, why not? And also, a friend of mine, the first time I wore a dress, she saw me in a dress and tights, I was sitting on a chair next to her, and she was looking at me and she said, "You've got quite shapely legs actually," and then she goes, "Oh no, that's awful," because I wouldn't say that to a woman. One thing is that I've got quite a lot of hair. Like, I love my head hair, I'm just crazy about my hair, but I've got quite a lot of body hair. Like, I'm not going to show you, but I've got really, really hairy legs, and I'm not wild about that. And the hairy arms don't bother me quite so much, because I know at least one cisgendered woman who combines being sort of very feminine and beautiful and glamorous with having hairy arms, so that doesn't bother me so much. It's all relative, these things, isn't it? And I don't have much chest hair, which is good. But my main problem is facial hair, and while it's not a surgical procedure, I thought it might come under that umbrella, and that I would mention that I've often been attracted by the idea of doing electrolysis, because I just hate my kind of facial hair and having to shave all the time. And I don't particularly mind having to shave all the time, but it would be convenient not to have to, and not to have the hair growing out of my face in the first place. Not that I really hate shaving, because it's it's fine. So I was thinking of, like, if I could design my ideal body, it would be like no facial hair, and I think my top lip, like, especially with, you can't really tell at the moment because A, I'm wearing makeup, and B, the light in here, but it is quite, like, visible. You can quite tell, and I think it's sort of, if I were to try and pass, that would be one of the big things that would give me away. Not that I do or think that I will, but it's kind of quite offsetting, and I think I should kind of learn to love it because of that reason. But yeah. But I would keep most of the things about my body, like my flat chest and kind of quite sort of a curvy bum and thick dark hair, which are all pluses, things I like about myself. But of course the problem area, which I have not been mentioning thus far, is the old down belows. And okay, so this is something that didn't get particularly much clearer in the journaling. Like, I just wish that it were not an issue, that there was just, like, nothing to see and I could just get on with my day. And I'm really not a fan of my own physical equipment, if you like. And I don't tuck or anything like that, but I wish that it were not there and I did not have to think about it or deal with it. But of course I do have to think about it. Or I don't have to think about it. I do have to at some point deal with it, or deal with the idea of having it. But I don't know if I would be that much more comfortable with the idea of having a vagina, because and I don't want to transition to live as a woman, nor do I want to live as a man. Like, I have no preference, as long as I get to do my thing. But the thing is that, like, a vagina, whether it was one you were born with or a neo-vagina, is not an absence. It's not just a nothing down there. It's a thing that is there, and it can be very powerfully kind of determining, gender-wise. And also, I don't think that, like, the way these things work, I don't think that if I were, like, be seen as being like a proper transsexual woman, which I would not identify myself as, which I would never identify myself as, then that I would be given one, because it's fairly major surgery, and I don't know if I would necessarily want one. I don't know if I would consider that to be the alternative that I would want. And I'm at an early stage in my life, and I may come to like the down belows, and I certainly may learn to live with them. But I'm just not wild about them at the moment. That's my position. So yes, see you next week.